let's bring kids into it. And let's talk about restoring the nuclear family. And again, not to the fake ideal of the 1950s, but to this medieval ideal in the present time. What
Well,
does that look like?
it's the same kind of stuff that we've already talked about. It's that from the outset, a man should be doing, for one, what he's able to do best, what he is best at, and what he most loves to do. Because my grandfather always had this saying that if you do what you love and you love what you do, you'll never really work a day in your life, which is what has influenced my own personal idea that if play is the work of children, then work is the play of man, or at least it ought to be. And keeping that in mind, it's what we've already said. Every moment not spent actively working should be spent with your family. So if you are able to work from home, if you have a job or a career or a trade that lets you work from your home, or at least as near to it as possible, that is what you ought to pursue. Because if your family actually needs you, you should be able to drop everything and run to them and be there as quick as possible. And on top of that, your children will always, at least, they will always feel your presence. They will always know that you are close to them, which is what they need to know and feel if they are to have a good sense of the presence of God. They need to know that their Father is near them and is close to them and loves them. So more family time. Every minute that is not spent sleeping or working is with your family. And even then, depending on what your actual work is, you can bring your kids with you.
Mm-hmm.
You can teach them what you do. You can show them what you do. And this will allow your kids to get to know you and you to get to know them more so than the one take your daughter to work day and the so how was school today, kids, at the end of the day.
It's another way of spending time with them.
You spend as much time with them as you possibly can.
I'm reminded
And
of that line.
you are satisfied in your place, and you don't spend undue time trying to change your specific place in the world, trying to chase promotions or higher pay, because what your kids need is you.
Mm-hmm. I'm reminded of that line, the family that prays together stays together. But praise doesn't have to be the only word you use there. It doesn't have to be limited to prayer, is what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
The family that plays together stays together. The family that eats together stays together. The family that works together, if you can pull that off, that's amazing, stays together. The family that learns together stays together. Hence why homeschooling is the best. Just be together.
Yeah.
And again, make the macro serve the micro. You can go get the higher paying job. You can go chase all these other things. You can pursue these hobbies. You can have the nice lawn. If those things are serving what matters. And time with your family matters more than any of the things I just listed. So if it's not building that up, don't do it. Or learn to do it in a way that does. But those are your options.
And that's ultimately how we will actually come back to the family being the genuine nucleus of society, the backbone of civilization, and the first place where a person learns how to behave in society. That's why Aristotle said this so long ago, that the smallest form of civilization is a family, because it has an order. And children that are raised in a rightly ordered family will be good citizens. And, Aristotle didn't say this because he was Aristotle, but children that are raised in rightly ordered families will be good citizens and will be good Christians. They will be good people, good men and good women, because in being raised in that rightly ordered family, they have learned how to behave in a society. And this is also a reason why people should have large families. Because if you're an only child, you don't have a lot of opportunity to learn how to behave in society. You don't have siblings that you have to learn to get along with.
Yeah, the kids at public school you can ignore to an extent.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you kind of need to learn to get along with them, but
You may have friends and everything,
not,
but them you get to choose.
yeah, nothing there equates to what you have in a family. That's well said.
And
That family
yeah,
is a civilization.
a family is the most minute and precise form of society is the family, not
Mm-hmm.
the individual, as the liberals would have you believe.
Mm-hmm.
That's what modern liberalism is, when we want to throw modern liberalism out the window, which is basically the entire way that politics in general has been viewed since the Enlightenment. Throw that out the window, because the basic form of society is the family.
And there's a billion arguments for why, but I'll just settle for one. If the basic building block of society was you, society's boring. So just don't.
So how are we going to restore that and build it up?
Like you said, through all the ways we've talked about so far, it starts with ordering these priorities. Like, again, there's a lot of right ways to do this, like I said before. Our listeners should be smart enough to be able to take the time and go and figure out what that looks like with the help of with the help of good communities. But I can tell them how to think. I can say this should be your top priority. Now go pursue Christ. Now go have a family, a big one. Does that mean this job versus that job? Does this mean a factory versus other thing, although one is better than the other? Like, go figure that out. And ultimately it has to serve these things. It has to serve these things anyway. So just be with your family. Spend more time with your family. That would fix society. Kind of that simple. As are all good.
And,
As are all good and profound things. Like
and you can
incredibly vast, terrifying in some sense, but also just ridiculously refreshing and simple at the same time, and not in a shortcut
and
fashion.
and you can try to respond to this with, oh, but economics and macro and blah 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 and all the and fancy college words. I don't care.
It's just funny because that's my realm, and I know how important that is, but I also know what it must serve. And we are talking tonight about the things that it must serve.
See,
Those are
you
more
actually
important.
understand all of that, but in understanding that and in having a rightly ordered mind, you also know that if it is fixed at the most simple and basic level, it will ultimately be fixed at the largest and most complex level.
Exactly. Which
They
means
like to say the devil is in the details, but so is God.
exactly.
A masterpiece painting is not a masterpiece because the entire thing is a masterpiece. It is because every detail, you can look at any detail of a masterpiece painting, any of Raphael's great trilogy, or any of Michelangelo's greatest work, the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, or its altarpiece. Every piece of that is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And even those that aren't perfect, the number of those pieces that are just spectacular, the number of those small little details that are exactly as they ought to be is great enough to completely outdo the few that aren't as good. The way that I actually like to look at this is, think of a medieval artwork. An artwork actually from the Middle Ages, because Michelangelo and Raphael were Renaissance painters. So think of a medieval artwork. When we think of the artwork as a whole in and of itself, it is great. It is fantastic. It's beautiful. But then in a lot of medieval manuscripts and artworks, you start to look in the marginalia on the outskirts and you see a lot of really weird things. Like a rabbit riding a snail with a lance. Like, what is that about? Does that actually have a meaning? Or was the monk that did that particular manuscript just bored? I don't know. I also don't really care. The point of this is that the number of weird things that have been deliberately kept to the outskirts, the outside of the painting, is outdone by the beauty and majesty of what is in the center and the foreground of that painting.
Mm-hmm.
So if enough people live their lives in rightly ordered manners, everything else will just be fixed.
Yeah,
To put it in the layman's home economics terms, watch your pennies and dimes and the dollars will take care of themselves.
exactly. This means you can't go. Yeah, to just say this, I guess, the fourth different way because they've all been good. Yeah, you can't live life where you just get your news all the time and pay attention to the crap that this person said and that person said and that this federal law that's getting passed, and make sure you go vote every 4 years and the right guy gets in, and make sure you follow the election cycle. And in the meantime, just, I guess, work and take care of your hobbies and make sure your family has a roof over your heads. Like, that is a shell of a life. That misses the point. Like you said, don't worry about being the whole painting. Just be that detail. And be the best detail that you can be, and make the details around you better. Everything else will
I
sort
plan on
itself out.
telling I plan on telling my sons the same thing that my grandfather told my dad and what my dad told me. You can pursue whatever work you want, within reason. I don't care what you do for a living. You can dig ditches for a living. But I want you to be the best damn ditch digger there is, if that's what you do. And if that is what God has called you to do. Everyone ought to know their place in society and in their own family and live it correctly. Because if you do that, the world will heal.
Yep.
That is how we fix problems. Is by people knowing their place and living it correctly. Forget the macro. You are the micro.
Mm-hmm.
You fix you.